He was fire and chaos wrapped in one man. Eddie Guerrero could make you laugh with a smile, break your heart with a fall, and leave you breathless with the magic he created between the ropes. But behind the brilliance lived a storm: pills, alcohol, and scars that nearly ended him before his prime. Time and again, he stumbled. Time and again, he rose. And when the world counted him out, Eddie seized destiny, conquering giants and his own demons to etch his name in history. His story is not just wrestling, it is survival, redemption, and legend.
Eddie Guerrero!
In the heart of El Paso, Texas, on a crisp October day in 1967, a legacy was quietly taking shape. Wrestling ran through the very veins of the Guerrero family, a bloodline already etched into the history of lucha libre. Gory Guerrero, a master of technique and storytelling, ruled the ring with a presence that left crowds breathless. From the moment he could toddle across the living room floor, young Eddie absorbed it all: the strikes, the holds, the timing, the drama. The ring was more than wood and ropes. It was a language, a living stage where heroes and villains came to life. For him, wrestling was not a choice, it was destiny. A calling whispered through every lesson, every match, every glance at his father and older brothers. Each move he watched became a seed, one that would grow into a career defined by heart, skill, and a relentless desire to honor the family name. From childhood, Eddie displayed a natural athleticism. He excelled in sports like soccer and basketball, but it was in wrestling that he found a true calling. Under Gory's guidance, Eddie began formal training at a young age, learning the fundamentals of holds, counters, and high-flying maneuvers. He also studied the psychology behind wrestling, understanding that a match was a story with heroes, villains, tension, and resolution. These lessons would form the foundation for his entire career. Even as a teenager, Eddie showed a flair for performing, blending agility with charisma in ways that drew attention from promoters in Mexico. Eddie's first matches came in small venues across Mexico, where the crowds were intimate but passionate. He faced local wrestlers who tested his endurance and ring awareness, forcing him to adapt quickly. His early bouts were a mix of success and learning experiences, helping him refine both his in-ring style and his persona. Despite being younger and smaller than many opponents, Eddie's cleverness and technical skill made him a standout. Audiences quickly recognized his potential, and promoters began booking him for larger events in AAA and CMLL, Mexico's premier wrestling promotions. In AAA, Eddie learned to combine traditional lucha libre techniques with innovative aerial moves. He executed springboard attacks, top rope dives, and counter sequences that wowed the audience. His time in CMLL further sharpened his craft, as he faced more seasoned competitors and participated in multi-man matches that required acute awareness and teamwork. During this period, Eddie also developed the cunning, sometimes mischievous personality that would later define his Latino Heat character. He learned to read crowds, time dramatic pauses, and sell the emotional stakes of each match convincingly. Seeking to expand his career globally, Eddie ventured to Japan, a move that would dramatically broaden his skill set. Adopting the masked persona of Black Tiger in New Japan Pro Wrestling, he wrestled against some of the country's most disciplined and technical wrestlers. The Japanese style emphasized precision, stamina, and psychological intensity, pushing Eddie to adapt and elevate his approach. Each match in Japan required meticulous attention to pacing, counters, and audience engagement. Here, Eddie honed his striking, submission holds, and ring awareness to a level that few North American wrestlers achieved at such a young age. This international experience also exposed Eddie to different wrestling philosophies, from the high-impact, fast-paced Japanese style to the theatrical and story-driven lucha libre of Mexico. By blending these influences, he created a hybrid style that was uniquely his own. His performances were characterized by speed, agility, and creativity, paired with storytelling that captivated fans. Eddie's ability to innovate while maintaining tradition set him apart from peers who relied solely on brute strength or high-flying stunts without nuance. During his early career, Eddie also navigated the pressures of being part of a wrestling dynasty. His brothers, Chavo, Mando, and Hector, were all actively wrestling, and the expectations placed on Eddie were immense. While this could have been a source of stress, it instead fueled his ambition. He sought to carve his own path and prove himself not just as Gory Guerrero's son, but as an independent talent capable of surpassing even his family's legacy. This drive became evident in his willingness to travel, adapt to new styles, and continuously improve. By the late 1980s, Eddie's reputation had grown significantly. Promoters in Mexico and Japan recognized him as one of the most promising young talents, capable of entertaining large audiences while delivering technically sound matches. His unique combination of athleticism, charisma, and storytelling drew the attention of North American promoters. Scouts from ECW and WCW began taking notice, intrigued by a wrestler who could blend aerial artistry with grounded technique and emotional engagement. Eddie's early matches also cultivated his skill in crowd manipulation. He learned when to play the hero and when to provoke boos, understanding that audience reaction was as important as executing a move correctly. This talent for connecting with fans became a cornerstone of his later career, enabling him to generate heat or admiration on demand. Even in small Mexican arenas, Eddie displayed an innate ability to gauge the energy of a crowd and adjust his performance accordingly. At this stage, Eddie's style was still evolving, but the foundation was already extraordinary. He combined the athleticism of lucha libre, the intensity of Japanese wrestling, and a natural charisma that few could match. Every match, from local Mexican venues to international tours in Japan, added to his experience and maturity. He was learning how to pace long bouts, structure dramatic sequences, and integrate innovative moves seamlessly into a story. By the time Eddie Guerrero returned from his tours of Japan, his reputation had already begun to grow. Wrestling for New Japan Pro Wrestling in the early 1990s under the masked persona of Black Tiger II, he quickly impressed audiences with his speed and precision. Matches against legends like Jushin Thunder Liger showcased his versatility as Eddie blended lucha libre flair with Japanese strong style intensity. These bouts were more than exhibitions of athleticism. They were laboratories where Eddie sharpened every tool in his arsenal. He learned timing, pacing, and how to command an audience that demanded authenticity in every performance. Competing in Japan also gave Eddie invaluable lessons in endurance. The country's punishing training culture and physically demanding matches tested his resilience daily. His smaller frame was no obstacle. Instead, it became part of his story, forcing him to rely on creativity and cunning rather than brute strength. Each tour added new layers to his craft, transforming him into a wrestler capable of captivating crowds anywhere in the world. These international experiences forged a performer who was no longer just another young luchador, but a fully formed talent. When Eddie turned toward North America, the discipline and lessons from Japan prepared him to thrive in ECW, WCW, and eventually WWE. By the early 1990s, Eddie Guerrero had sharpened his skills across Mexico and Japan, mastering the high-flying maneuvers of lucha libre while absorbing the discipline and technicality of Japanese wrestling. When he stepped onto American soil with Extreme Championship Wrestling, ECW, even the smallest venues seemed electrified by his presence. His matches blended rapid reversals, springboard attacks, and carefully timed near falls, each sequence telling a story of cunning, resilience, and athletic brilliance. From his first bouts, it was clear that Eddie's blend of speed, precision, and psychological awareness set him apart. One of Eddie's earliest defining rivalries in ECW came against Dean Malenko. Their clashes were a masterclass in technical wrestling. Malenko's submission-heavy style required Eddie to combine aerial offense with grounded counters and precise timing. Every Three Amigos sequence, like every pin attempt and every escape from a near fall, created a continuous thread of suspense and drama. The audience followed each maneuver, reacting to Eddie's clever feints and Malenko's punishing holds. Off-screen, promos and backstage segments highlighted Eddie's charisma, wit, and strategic mind, building anticipation and deepening the story beyond the in-ring action. These matches firmly established him as a performer capable of weaving narrative into every athletic display. Eddie's talent soon attracted the attention of World Championship Wrestling, WCW, where the cruiserweight division offered a stage to fully showcase his abilities. The early contests featured high-paced, technical, and aerial exchanges against competitors like Psychosis and Yuji Nagata. Each bout emphasized strategic offense, creative counters, and moments designed to elicit maximum audience engagement. Eddie's flair for storytelling within the ring ensured that even mid-card matches felt consequential, with suspense carefully structured through near falls, reversals, and high-risk maneuvers. The pinnacle of Eddie's WCW career was the 1997 Halloween Havoc match against Rey Mysterio. Stakes were monumental. Eddie's Cruiserweight Championship against Rey's Mask, a symbol steeped in lucha libre tradition. From the opening bell, Eddie attacked with calculated aggression, focusing on Rey's mask while pacing the match for maximum tension. Rey responded with acrobatic brilliance, executing springboard dives, top rope somersaults, and lightning-fast counters. Each exchange escalated the drama, with carefully timed near falls keeping the audience on the edge of their seats. Eddie's signature Three Amigos sequence punctuated the battle, blending athleticism with narrative sophistication. Ultimately, Rey triumphed with a breathtaking Hurricane Rana, leaving Eddie furious, yet further cementing his reputation as a masterful villain and one of the most compelling performers of the era. Following Halloween Havoc, Eddie continued to elevate the Cruiserweight division. His televised clash with Chris Jericho was a display of seamless transitions between high-flying offense and precise technical counters. Each sequence, rapid reversals, springboard attacks, and carefully orchestrated near falls, built tension while telling a story of strategy, wit, and resilience. The audience reacted to every counter, cheering near falls and gasping at daring maneuvers. Eddie's intelligence in pacing and crowd engagement elevated the match, making it a highlight of his WCW tenure and demonstrating his ability to adapt against a wide array of opponents while keeping the narrative coherent. Another standout encounter in WCW was against Juventud Guerrera. This bout showcased Eddie's ability to navigate lightning-fast sequences while maintaining dramatic clarity. Both performers executed daring aerial attacks, intricate counters, and high-risk spots, creating a visually stunning spectacle. Eddie's strategic timing, selling Juventud's offense, orchestrating near falls, and delivering the Three Amigos sequence allowed the audience to invest emotionally in each pin attempt. The match emphasized Eddie's versatility, combining cunning, aerial precision, and storytelling intelligence to create a contest that elevated both competitors. Eddie also faced Ultimo Dragon in a bout that highlighted strategic adaptability. Dragon's technical precision and international experience challenged Eddie to blend risk-taking with careful pacing. Each sequence flowed with cinematic rhythm, a feint here, a reversal there, and an aerial maneuver timed perfectly to excite the crowd. The audience's reactions surged with every near fall, culminating in a finish that left fans applauding Eddie's ingenuity and resilience. Beyond in-ring action, Eddie Guerrero's charisma and understanding of audience psychology defined this period. Promos and subtle gestures enhanced matches, while backstage relationships, particularly with fellow Latino wrestlers, helped forge bonds that would eventually lead to the creation of the Latino World Order. His combination of athletic skill, narrative intelligence, and magnetic personality ensured that he was not just a standout in matches, but a cornerstone of the Cruiserweight division, respected by peers and beloved by fans. By the end of his WCW run, Eddie had transformed from a high-flying sensation into a complete performer. Eddie's preparation, creativity, and ability to weave narrative into every maneuver laid the foundation for his transition to WWF, where he would arrive not as a newcomer, but as a polished, multi-dimensional star ready to make an indelible mark. Even as he transitioned promotions, the lessons of this era, resilience, precision, creativity, and connection with the audience, remained central to Eddie's craft. These years of relentless pursuit, strategic thinking, and athletic innovation ensured that he was prepared for the higher stakes, larger audiences, and deeper storytelling challenges that awaited him in WWF. By the year 2000, Eddie Guerrero made his highly anticipated debut in WWF, immediately joining forces with fellow ex-WCW stars in The Radicals. Their arrival on Raw was marked by confrontation and chaos, instantly positioning them as disruptive forces in the locker room and on television. Eddie's introduction was more than a factional storyline. It showcased his ability to generate heat and intrigue, blending charisma with a subtle menace that caught the attention of both fans and management. Eddie's early matches in WWF demonstrated a seamless adaptation to a larger audience, and more structured storytelling. One of his first high-profile contests was against Test at No Mercy 2000, where his technical prowess and cunning tactics established him as a contender in the mid-card hierarchy. Each maneuver, from his signature arm drags to springboard offense, reflected his lucha libre roots while fitting perfectly into WWF's evolving style. Fans immediately noticed his ability to balance high-flying agility with in-ring psychology, making his matches more than athletic displays. They became narratives in motion. As 2000 progressed, Eddie engaged in a heated rivalry with Perry Saturn. Their series of matches showcased a contrast of styles. Eddie's calculated aerial and technical offense against Saturn's hard-hitting, grounded approach. At Unforgiven 2000, Eddie Guerrero captured the Intercontinental Championship in a triple threat match against Kurt Angle and Chyna, showcasing perfect timing and skill. The match was meticulously paced, allowing Eddie to demonstrate strategy as much as athleticism, and the title win provided tangible stakes that elevated both his and the championship's significance. Parallel to his singles success, Eddie formed a partnership with Chavo Guerrero, creating Los Guerreros. Their chemistry was instant, blending familial synergy with an underhanded edge that made them compelling performers in the tag division. One of their most notable encounters came when they faced Matt Hardy and Shannon Moore for the WWE Tag Team Championship. The match was high-octane, featuring quick tags, double-team maneuvers, and a near-perfect balance of storytelling and excitement. Los Guerreros' victory cemented them as a dominant force in the tag ranks, demonstrating Eddie's ability to thrive in both singles and team environments. By 2001, Eddie's Intercontinental Championship run was marked by a series of high-stakes defenses that tested his adaptability against diverse opponents. Notably, at No Way Out 2001, Eddie defended against Chris Benoit in a technical showcase. Every sequence highlighted precision, storytelling, and endurance. From submission exchanges to dynamic aerial counters, the match allowed Eddie to demonstrate both his skill and ring intelligence. Winning this match reaffirmed his credibility as a singles competitor and elevated the title's prestige in the eyes of fans and peers. Los Guerreros squared off against the world's greatest tag team, Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin, in a spectacular tag team encounter that highlighted technical mastery, high-speed offense, and intricate teamwork. From the opening bell, both teams displayed flawless timing, with quick tags, double-team maneuvers, and counter sequences that kept the audience on the edge of their seats. Eddie's leadership orchestrated precision attacks, while Chavo's agility and aerial tactics created dynamic, unpredictable moments. Haas and Benjamin responded with athleticism and seamless coordination, matching every move with calculated reversals and high-impact combinations. Each near-fall built tension, elevating the drama and showcasing storytelling within the ring. The match balanced risk, technique, and psychology perfectly, culminating in Los Guerreros executing innovative double-team maneuvers. In the end, Los Guerreros emerged victorious, thrilling fans and cementing their reputation as one of WWE's premier tag teams. By mid-2001, Eddie Guerrero had firmly established a presence across both singles and tag divisions. His championship victories, key rivalries, and dominant team performances were intertwined with a growing reputation as a reliable and inventive performer. His adaptability allowed him to thrive in matches with diverse opponents, from high flyers to hard hitters, each contest meticulously structured to maximize drama, athleticism, and crowd investment. The culmination of Eddie's peak career period can be seen in his overall trajectory from Radical's newcomer to an Intercontinental and Tag Team Champion. Every match explored, No Mercy 2000, Unforgiven 2000, Halloween Havoc 2000, No Way Out 2001, and Backlash 2001, was instrumental in building his legacy within WWF. The combination of title wins, memorable feuds, and team successes positioned him as a performer capable of carrying larger storylines and evolving into a main event player. By the end of this phase, Eddie Guerrero had achieved multiple milestones: Intercontinental Champion, Tag Team Champion with Chavo Guerrero, and a series of standout matches against top-tier talent. Each match told a story, provided stakes, and highlighted his skill set without relying on extraneous praise. The peak of his career was defined not just by accolades, but by the carefully curated in-ring narratives, rivalries, and team dynamics that left a lasting impression on fans and laid the foundation for his eventual redemption arc and ascent toward world title contention. By mid-2001, Eddie Guerrero's career had reached a critical crossroads. Years of high-flying agility and technical brilliance had been overshadowed by a growing dependency on painkillers and alcohol. Appearances became erratic, promos faltered, and his once perfect timing in the ring wavered. Backstage, colleagues watched with concern as one of wrestling's most talented performers wrestled a battle far beyond the ropes. His addiction peaked, and WWE made the difficult decision to release him, leaving fans shocked and uncertain. Eddie, however, faced the reality that the fight outside the ring would define him as much as any victory inside it. Months in rehab were grueling. Each day tested his body and mind as he confronted the consequences of his actions. Hours spent rebuilding his strength and agility were matched by mental exercises to regain focus, patience, and discipline. Slowly, he restored the trust of management, proving that his talent and commitment were intact. When Eddie returned to Raw and SmackDown in early 2002, the chants of "Eddie, Eddie" greeted him, a chorus of belief and hope before he even stepped into the squared circle. The audience's energy fueled his determination, signaling that his redemption story had begun. His first significant feud after returning was with Chris Benoit, a technically brilliant competitor whose intensity and precision posed a formidable challenge. Their encounters were a storm of speed, counters, and strategic ingenuity. From the opening bell, Eddie launched into rapid arm drags, springboard crossbodies, and daring aerial maneuvers. Benoit countered with punishing suplexes, wrenching submissions, and relentless technical assaults. Every sequence was a blur of athletic chaos. Eddie's Three Amigos sequence drew the crowd to their feet, only for Benoit to kick out at the last possible moment, sending adrenaline surging through the arena. Each near fall was sudden, intense, and unpredictable, building suspense and showcasing Eddie's cunning. As the rivalry developed, Eddie's creativity in the ring became his greatest weapon. Feints, misdirections, and perfectly timed reversals forced Benoit to adapt constantly, turning each pin attempt and escape into a miniature story of resilience and strategy. Crowd reactions intensified with every daring move, creating a symphony of tension and excitement. Their bouts were not merely contests of strength or skill. They were narratives that displayed Eddie's mastery of in-ring psychology, proving that he had reclaimed his mid-card credibility while demonstrating the brilliance of his technical repertoire. After the crescendo of the Benoit feud, Eddie turned his focus to Kurt Angle, an Olympic gold medalist whose precision and explosive power presented an entirely new challenge. From their first match, the clash of styles was striking. Angle's relentless suplexes and submission holds met Eddie's agile counters, high-risk maneuvers, and clever misdirection. Promos added layers of intensity, with Eddie taunting Angle through subtle references to his comeback, while Angle's stoic intensity underscored the stakes. Every televised match, whether on SmackDown or in multi-man contests like the Kurt Angle and Eddie Guerrero versus Rikishi and Undertaker 2002, escalated tension and drew the audience into the drama of the rivalry. One of the most unforgettable matches in WWE history took place at WrestleMania 20, where Eddie Guerrero faced Kurt Angle for the WWE Championship in a showdown fans still rave about. From the moment the bell rang, the intensity was palpable. Both men displayed unmatched technical skill, with sequences of chain wrestling, reversals, and counters that left the crowd in awe. Angle unleashed punishing suplexes and targeted submissions, but Eddie's ingenuity and speed allowed him to turn the tide at every turn. The match was a perfect blend of athleticism and storytelling. Eddie executed high-flying maneuvers, signature counters, and the famous Three Amigos, each move timed to perfection. Near falls came in rapid succession, keeping the audience on the edge of their seats and creating an electric atmosphere in the arena. Every exchange told a story of grit, strategy, and resilience, with Eddie's cunning matched against Angle's raw power and precision. In the climax, Eddie's cleverness and timing prevailed. A perfectly executed roll-up secured the victory, cementing the match as a classic. This WrestleMania 20 contest elevated both men, showcasing Eddie Guerrero as a brilliant strategist and unforgettable WWE legend. The frenetic energy and escalating tension of these two feuds illustrated the journey from personal struggle to professional mastery. Against Benoit, Eddie proved that his technical brilliance remained undiminished, reclaiming respect and credibility. Against Angle, he demonstrated the ability to thrive in main event caliber scenarios, combining storytelling, athleticism, and emotional resonance. Rapid counters, daring aerial maneuvers and perfectly timed escapes highlighted Eddie's ingenuity, creating matches that were frantic, cinematic, and emotionally compelling. Every pin attempt, reversal, and audience reaction contributed to the narrative of a performer who had fought back from the brink of personal destruction. As the feuds concluded, Eddie Guerrero stood in the center of the ring, sweat-soaked and chest-heaving, eyes alive with focus and determination. Each match, each near fall, and each dramatic reversal told a story of resilience and triumph over adversity. The chants of the audience echoed the journey he had endured: the darkness of addiction, the uncertainty of release, the painstaking hours of rehabilitation, and the relentless drive to reclaim greatness. Eddie Guerrero's redemption at this stage was not merely a return to the ring. It was a statement that determination, skill, and courage could overcome even the darkest struggles. In the final moments of this chapter, Eddie's presence radiated more than the Latino Heat persona. It embodied a man who had fought back, proving to fans, colleagues, and himself that talent paired with perseverance could restore both career and reputation. The championship victory that would immortalize his legacy and complete the narrative of one of wrestling's greatest redemption stories. By early 2004, Eddie Guerrero's journey had reached the defining chapter. His redemption outside the ring was about to collide with the most dominant force in WWE, Brock Lesnar. For months, Brock had crushed every challenger with sheer strength, tossing opponents like ragdolls and walking into arenas with a swagger that screamed invincibility. Eddie, on the other hand, stood as the resilient underdog, smaller in stature, but armed with a will that refused to break. Their clash was set for No Way Out 2004, a pay-per-view where the outcome seemed predetermined to most. Brock's reign would continue, but Eddie was ready to shock the world. The match opened with Lesnar hurling Eddie around the ring, his raw power overwhelming. Suplex after suplex crashed Eddie to the mat, each landing sending ripples through the crowd. Yet, every time Eddie's shoulders touched the canvas, he fought back to his feet, drawing chants that grew louder with every kickout. Brock's frustration began to show as Eddie countered bursts of offense with nimble reversals. A drop kick to the knees, a perfectly timed tilt-a-whirl head scissors, a DDT that rocked the champion. Each exchange wasn't just survival, it was strategy, Eddie slowly pulling the beast into deep waters. Midway through the bout, Brock nearly sealed the victory with the F5, but in the chaos, the referee was knocked down. Suddenly, Goldberg stormed into the ring, spearing Brock in an explosive moment that electrified the arena. The interference tied into Brock's upcoming WrestleMania match, but for Eddie, it opened a fleeting window. Brock staggered to his feet, groggy and furious, and Eddie pounced. With the crowd in a frenzy, he planted Lesnar with a DDT onto the championship belt. Scaling the ropes with urgency, Eddie launched his frog splash, crashing down onto his fallen opponent. 3 seconds later, the unthinkable happened. Eddie Guerrero was WWE Champion. The eruption inside the Cow Palace in San Francisco was deafening. Fans wept, chanted, and leapt from their seats as Eddie clutched the title, eyes filled with disbelief and triumph. He climbed into the crowd, embracing supporters who had followed him through every trial, every setback, every moment of struggle. The victory wasn't just a championship, it was redemption made tangible, proof that perseverance could topple even the strongest of giants. After his crowning moment, Eddie's journey took him into one of the most personal rivalries of his career, his conflict with Rey Mysterio. The two were celebrated as close friends and partners, capturing WWE Tag Team Championship at No Way Out 2005. Their chemistry in the ring was undeniable, a fusion of speed, precision, and innovation that thrilled audiences. But beneath the surface, cracks began to form. At WrestleMania 21, Rey defeated Eddie in a friendly contest, and the result gnawed at Guerrero's pride. Weeks later, his frustration boiled over into betrayal. The betrayal was vicious. Eddie attacked Rey with ruthless precision, his smile twisting into a snarl as he promised to reveal a secret that would destroy Mysterio's family. This ignited one of the most emotionally charged feuds in WWE history. Eddie's heel persona dripped with venom, manipulating Rey and taunting him with the infamous
I'm your papi.
Their matches were layered with personal stakes, none more memorable than the SummerSlam 2005 ladder match, where custody of Rey's son Dominic was bizarrely placed on the line. The sight of Eddie sneering from the ladder, taunting Rey as the crowd screamed in protest, created unforgettable drama. Though Rey ultimately triumphed, the feud cemented Eddie as a master of character work, blending athletic brilliance with psychological torment. As 2005 progressed, Eddie remained a main event fixture on SmackDown, delivering standout performances despite ongoing health concerns. Behind the curtain, friends noted his tireless work ethic and his devotion to family. Yet years of physical punishment and past substance abuse had left invisible scars. On November 13, 2005, tragedy struck. Eddie Guerrero was found unresponsive in his Minneapolis hotel room hours before a scheduled SmackDown taping. Medical reports confirmed heart failure brought on by long-term damage from past drug use. He was only 38 years old. The wrestling world stopped. News of Eddie's passing sent shockwaves through fans and performers alike. That week, both Raw and SmackDown were dedicated entirely to his memory. The shows opened with 10-bell salutes, wrestlers lined solemnly on stage, many in tears. Video packages chronicled Eddie's life, from his lucha libre beginnings to his WWE Championship glory, interwoven with heartfelt tributes from peers. Superstars broke character to share personal stories, painting a picture of a man whose warmth, humor, and spirit had touched everyone he met. Fans worldwide lit candles, shared memories online, and filled arenas with chants of, "Thank you, Eddie." In 2006, Eddie Guerrero was posthumously inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. Chavo Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, and Chris Benoit delivered the induction speeches, their voices cracking with emotion as they honored his legacy. Chavo spoke of Eddie's dedication to family and his unbreakable spirit. Rey remembered their bond as brothers inside and outside the ring. Benoit, overwhelmed with grief, struggled to find words but conveyed the depth of Eddie's impact on his life. The ceremony was a celebration of not just a wrestler, but a man who had embodied resilience and artistry in equal measure. Eddie Guerrero's story is remembered today as wrestling's greatest redemption arc. From the depths of addiction to the pinnacle of WWE Champion, his journey reflected both the fragility and the strength of the human spirit. His in-ring legacy endures in every suplex, every counter, every moment of wit and brilliance that modern performers carry forward. His ability to lie, cheat, and steal with charm, to blend athletic mastery with raw emotion, made him one of the most beloved figures in the history of the business. Eddie Guerrero was more than a champion. He was proof that mistakes do not define a person, that redemption, though hard-fought, can be achieved. His life, his struggles, and his triumphs continue to inspire generations of wrestlers and fans alike. To this day, the chants of echo not just in arenas, but in the hearts of those who remember a man who rose, fell, and rose again, leaving behind a legacy of courage, artistry, and redemption that will never be forgotten.